Good morning, one and all. Thank you for coming today. We'll jump right into things. Item 8. Gentlemen, get a chance to look the minutes over.
Yep.
Any additions or corrections?
None.
Is there a motion to approve?
Motion approved. Second.
Okay. So Tracy made that motion, and Gary seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Mona asked me to bring up something real quick.
Okay.
Her vehicle, that's owned by the Region Independent, with her not coming to work every day, she was asking if you guys were comfortable if she drove it here on Tuesdays just to keep it running once a week. Good on the motor, that type of thing.
I don't see a
Or if
problem.
it's snowing, if she parks it in her garage rather than at the Buchanan County place, because then they have to move it to shovel.
These new cars, the battery goes dead.
Yeah,
after
that's what she
about-
said, and they haven't paid to maintenance it because it hasn't been run.
Well, and she's not been able to get out and about like previously, so
Right.
of course, I don't have an issue with that whatsoever.
Okay.
Gentlemen? Okay, I think that makes good sense. If she's got room in her garage, why
Well,
not?
it would be like on a snowstorm if she
Of
knew.
course.
Okay.
Sure saves cleaning all the snow off and moving it so they can remove snow. Sweet.
I will let her know. Or she was in here, so.
Got a couple minutes here. I forgot to shut my phone down. Is there any quick reports? And I do mean quick. No? Okay.
He said quick.
I said quick.
Oh, okay.
We'll come back to that then.
Did I miss something exciting last week?
Well, I think so.
Did we miss something exciting?
I was on vacation.
I know. That's what
You might have, yeah.
That's why I asked.
It was a good time.
Well, Lorie, it is so close to 9:05 that by the time you walk over to your screen,
All right. Great. Well, thank you very much for sharing some time with me this morning, and I can give you a little update on our FY20 deliverables here in Benton County, as well as what we've been doing this year to pivot and address the needs of business and industry and our school partners due to the pandemic. Still making sure that we're delivering on our promise to get career-connected learning in our schools, and of course, making our respectful ask for FY22. Well,
so you gonna work?
yeah, it was working just fine. Now it seems to be seized up for some reason. It's kind of goofy. Looks like we've lost transmission between here and this screen. You don't
Ben
have a
left.
person here any longer, do you?
Mhm.
Is he even out of the parking lot yet?
Nope.
He's probably out. Did he go over out here? Here, I'll text him.
Okay.
Sorry about that. It was working
No.
just fine. Now it seems to.
You try to shut it off and start it again.
Well, you can always do that. Go out and come back in. There you go, the old reboot. Perfect, we're good.
Okay.
We got her. I'd like to start with just showing you a little bit about the people that get the work done. I think this year especially, our team has been extremely innovative in what they've had to pivot on, delivering both in-person and virtual. We're good, I just had to repeat. And I just wanted to point out a few people on our team. Laura Miner, she services internship connections here in Benton County. Melissa Cumley-Hammis is working with supporting business connections. Myself, I'm acting school liaison. Christy Phillips, who was with our team through October, has left our team and is helping with their family business, Phillips Funeral Home, since they were so adversely affected by the derecho at their Keystone location. So we're really sad to lose Christy off our team. She was wonderful, serving us for 1 year in her role as a rural liaison. And then, of course, Cheryl Valenta from our team. So we are a team of 14 serving the 7-county region, but just wanted to start with that little introduction of some of the key members serving Benton County. So a little overview of who we are and what we do. The Workplace Learning Connection is all about connecting today's students to tomorrow's careers and making sure that they're better informed, better prepared, and better aligned with post-secondary options. So giving them exposure starting in grade 6 through 12 to work-based learning. And we do that through a variety of activities. So really that whole goal is for us to be that single point of contact for business and industry. Business and industry wants to support educators and students, but they also can't field multiple calls for these types of interactions. So we're that single point to help coordinate that and make sure that it's quality and that we have the liability issues covered for our business partners as well. So when working through a school-sanctioned activity, those schools have the liability piece covered, or those businesses do. I always like to share a little bit of the voices of students in our programs, and you'll hear from them.
If I'd like to pursue a career in this, I feel a job shadow is almost necessary, and it's definitely very helpful.
I like that we got to see different places and how all the different trades work together.
It was really cool to see the ins and outs of what I want to do in the future, and it gave me a good idea of the skills I need to have to do it well. This job shadow helped me immensely. It helped me verify that this is in fact what I want to do after high school, and lifted a huge weight off my shoulders worrying about it. A highlight from my internship would be all the new networking relationships I've built with business professionals. I will be able to use these new connections in the future. I like that it was a local business, because I got to learn how they impact my town.
It's helped me because I've learned stuff working here, working at Dominguez, versus the stuff that I may have just learned in college. I've got a head start on other things.
It's a big opportunity that you get to do some of the things that you like and maybe not know that you liked before but like now. And it could change you. Maybe you could start working because they like how you work there.
I was very nervous coming into it because I don't have any experience with this stuff, but they made it really easy to learn.
My favorite part was the Da Vinci robot. I always thought that was cool, and I loved being able to try it.
So as you can see, we certainly do our best to cover all pathways. So individuals are going right to work, that are going into trades, things like apprenticeships or pre-apprenticeship programs, as well as credentialing, associates, bachelors, and beyond. So obviously this has been a different year for us as we've pivoted to meet the needs of our schools. So starting in March, we formed some innovation teams within Work-Based Learning Connection and started to imagine what our schools were going to be needing. So the immediate and then future. And what came out of that is really our ability to pivot on every single activity that we offer to our schools. We offer in person where it's plausible and our businesses are open to it, but we've also added virtual job shadows. And we've done that with technology and some engagement tools that have really helped to make it a quality experience, causing young people to get into environments that they would have never been able to get into before in person. Same thing with worksite tours. We've used Google Expeditions also tapping into the creativity of our business partners. And we were able to deliver the Advancing the Future tours in October in a virtual format. And we had hundreds of area industrial tech educators and their students watching those, learning from those, and engaging with those business hosts. Same thing with our internship program. We've flipped to a micro internship model where students can do more of a shorter term experience, still learning professional skills, and then being able to have capstone experience and make connections to mentors. So those are just a few of the things. This week we're delivering STEAM Institute to thousands of area 7th grade students and their educators, and that's happening in a live and a virtual format, AM and PM each day this week. So really listening to what our educators' needs are, the time frames that they're able to accommodate when they're dealing with both in-person students and students learning from home, and that's proven to be pretty successful and useful tool for them. So a lot of pivoting going on. We're looking forward to an opportunity when we can have students out directly, but definitely meeting the needs of business and industry too. They are very interested in connecting to their future workforce, and we're giving them alternative ways to do that this year during this pandemic. So just a little snapshot of where we ended up this past year. We were down in events. Basically, we had thousands of kids that were going to be engaged in events March, April, May that we had to cancel due to COVID. But one bright spot in this is that we were actually up in job shadow participation in Benton County. We were up by 17% over FY19. So that was great. We've done some definitely some focused efforts in getting more young people engaged, and that included more concierge service within the schools, utilizing kind of group application times. And that was something that Christy Phillips really helped our team out on, and I really could attribute that to her great salesmanship. And all these activities really do help support the overall goal of better informed, better prepared, and better aligned. So 82% of kids are saying that's definitely influenced their selection of a career field. And we know if young people go into post-secondary training get into the right area, they're much more likely to complete it and then get into the workforce and be part of our economy. 90% said it made them more aware of local opportunities, and nearly 3/4 said it positively influenced their decision to live and work in Iowa. Just wanted to point out the support that we've had over the years. We've got everyone, all of our county boards of supervisors on board for 10 cents per capita, and we're working on Jones County to get them moved over this year with that level of support. And we thank Benton County for being a long-term 10 cent per capita supporter, and that really does help me link and leverage other resources. This piece of the pie, with contributions from county boards of supervisors and local grants, represents about 8% of our overall budget, but it does help me to leverage other forms of funding. So when I go after grant funding, I'm able to show that communal support that we have across 7 county regions. So we're very grateful to the boards of supervisors for your support of future workforce and the work that we do. We know that over 7 out of 10 jobs require a post-secondary credential or an associate's degree in order to function in our economy. And the remainder requires bachelor's and beyond. So we're very focused on showing those career pathways to young people and how they can get to where they want to go. And once they get there, how the organization can also help them grow in their skills. So obviously the funding that you help us build out in Benton County covers the cost of staff and just cost of doing business. It allows us for equitable delivery of services to all the schools in Benton County, middle and high school, and it shares the fiscal responsibility based in return on investment. We know that obviously all of our businesses here, business and industry in Benton County, are supporting through their tax dollars, and we know that making this connection to their future workforce is essential in their growth and development. So they've been very, very supportive of all of our efforts. Next, I'd like to share a little video that we sent out to all Benton County business and industry partners this spring. They had been really exceptional in pivoting and accommodating our needs. And we sent this out through Chamber and Economic Development. And I wanted to play this little thank you. This also includes thanking you.
Hi, I'm Lorie, Director of Workplace Learning Connection. On behalf of the entire WLC team, I'd like to offer you our most sincere thank you for your support of our programs and services. We simply could not do it without you. Thank you so much.
WLC would like to say,
thank you. So that was pretty well received, and just a fun little thank you. Honestly, we couldn't do any of the work that we do without literally thousands of business and industry volunteers that support this work because they have such a vested interest in their future. So just want to thank you, and then respectfully ask for your support again at 10 cents per capita. In the amount, sorry?
$25.66.
That's it. You got it.
Same as last year.
Any questions?
Just a comment that I think Kirkwood has a fantastic outreach program, really do. And just on a personal note, granddaughter that is graduating from high school early, she's not living in Benton County, but she's affected by your Kirkwood program, and she's graduating high school with 6 hours college credit from Kirkwood.
Fantastic.
I mean, it's just a great, great program you guys have.
Thank you very much. We work hand in hand with our career academies, our college credit and high school programs, and, you know, serve those students as well.
Sure.
Through work-based learning. So thanks very much for sharing that
Thank you for all
success.
your excellent work.
Thank you.
I'm sure you can count on us for that support.
Great. Thanks very much. Any other questions or comments? All right.
Nice job.
Thank you very much.
I am ecstatic to see in your report how active Benton County is.
It's I tell you what, we just don't get told no very often. And by offering some other options that work for businesses, we have some businesses are absolutely fine with hosting young people, you know, on site.
Sure.
And that's great. We just want to accommodate all needs as best we can while we're still, you know, following all the guidelines that we have.
And this year's been especially challenging.
It has. One other note, you'll be seeing somebody else in my role next year. I am retiring August 31st. So I'll certainly relay to you, I share that with Haley, who that person is this summer, and get them up to speed so that they can continue these great relationships. So I just want to thank you so much for your support.
Well, thank you for all your dedicated work.
Thank you.
So,
Enjoy your retirement.
Yeah, well, I'll do some other things, but I'm looking forward to it as well. Is it okay if I exit
Yep.
Of
through there? I
course.
just wanted to say hi to Kate if she's
Oh,
around.
yeah. She might be here. I'm not sure. You talking about Kate Robertson? Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'll put over there. Okay, thanks again.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hope your holidays are
Yeah,
merry ones.
I do too. Same to you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hello, Myron.
Morning.
Come on.
You need it back, you.
1 feet.
9:25 yet?
It is so close. I got 9:22. So you had boys out this weekend?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Doing a little work, Mother Nature's time of year.
For sure. There's quite a difference in the southern part of the county compared to the northern part as far as snow accumulation, wasn't there?
Even in between some, I mean, just, didn't ask for, my brain got to break down if traveling more, but even between my house and Benton, it seemed like there were areas where it was back and forth.
Really? I know my daughter who lives up on the Benton Buchanan line said they only had about 2 inches up there.
I wouldn't have said there was more than that in my driveway. There was areas in Shellsburg that looked to be heavier, and then
Sure. About 4 inches, I think, on my patio. So, yep.
then talked to a contractor in Washington that didn't have hardly any, and Ben was telling me he was down at his parents and his wife's parents down farther southeast, and he's like, there's a lot of snow down there, so it's,
Yeah. I guess the Butte had over 9.
Oh,
Yeah.
You can keep it.
It's good for them. You keep it there, right?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
there, next week or the following week, I'll probably have the results, but today the DOT letting for December has that deck replacement or edge blurs down, period.
Good, good.
Yeah, that bridge just keeps deteriorating, just keeps getting worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, that fixes itself over time, but, you know,
I didn't realize that you could just patch that on top of that bridge as much as you have. Would not be a typical recommendation, but because we're replacing it quickly, that was really an alternative that was easy to approach, I guess, and would work temporarily for. There's a lot of traffic across there, a lot of big, heavy trucks go across there. It ain't like it's cars, all cars, but there's a lot of cars too.
well, Myron, it is 9:25.
Okay. I had a request from 2 different utility companies for utility permit. Both of them happen to be board road crossings. The first one for interstate power and light is at the dairy plant, location over by Blairstown. It ends up being right on 22nd Avenue, right on the township line between Leroy and Sinclair Township, but to just bore across the road and bury their utility line for that facility.
Any questions, gentlemen?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
All right, well, Tracy made the motion to approve that utility permit for interstate power and light. And Gary seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. And your second one.
Second one is East Central Iowa REC, northeast of Keystone on 16th Avenue, between, what is that, Big Grove and Homer Townships? A property that they want to remove the overhead line crossing the road and boring under it. The building sites on the east side of the road, power lines on the west side of the road. So, straightforward, that REC has done numerous times, but asking permission to do so.
Questions, gentlemen?
So moved.
All right.
Second.
Okay, once again, Tracy made the motion to approve the utility permit for East Central Iowa REC. And Gary seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
They're both section 2530.
Okay.
Those 2 townships. Gonna be interesting to see how long that dairy stays melting.
I don't
They
think
were
so.
gonna replace the rotary in 10 years, and it's been dang near 20. They're gonna have to do something. It's looking pretty bad. They got roofs going bad and everything.
Said they had some storm damage, and I was talking to their head man earlier this year, working on getting those repaired.
Yeah, there wasn't much to repair. Some of them were gone before the storm.
Mm-hmm.
Rusted out. I remember whenever they first started, they had 1 day's manure storage. 1 day. And then they had, it was cold that winter. It was below zero in most of December, and all their waters froze up. Quite a deal.
Well, dairy industry, like many others, has really had challenges. I mean, even earlier this year, they were dumping milk. So it's,
They're more of a breeding facility now, I think.
sure.
They do milk, but
That agriculture is, don't have to tell you guys, the three of you over there, tough game. A lot of businesses are a pretty tough game anymore, so not just ag. Yeah. So, one more minute, Wayne. You'll have the floor. Is there a way to shut the screen off up there?
Yeah, I'll do it. It's fine.
Okay. All right.
It'll time out here in a little bit.
All right. How large a screen is that? You have no clue.
I do not.
I see they've come out with 110-inch TVs now.
That won't
That's
fit
gotta
in my
be pretty
entertainment
close.
center, so that's not happening.
Put her in the wall and shop.
Yeah. I like that for football days.
That's gotta be close.
So there's a bunch of, what are they, 82 or 86 inch on display down in Costco when I was down there a couple weeks ago when I was city.
I have a 70 inch, that's big enough.
Well, it's pretty good for old eyes, I guess, but you know.
Tough to sleep through it, but is that right?
Well, Wayne, it's 9:30,
Okay.
and you wish to have a conversation regarding 61st Street. Is
I
that
do.
correct?
I do. I know we've talked, well, I guess it was darn near a year ago, probably at that Farm Bureau meeting, about ag producers' desire to have something better for a farm to market road than what 61st Street is. And we bounced around the neighborhood, the ag neighborhood, to figure out if people even cared, and they do. I've probably got, let me lie to you, 30, 40 letters here signed by property owners or operators that said, among other comments, it's like, it's about time, should have been done 20 years ago, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I reached out to some of the businesses and banks in the area, and not one, I'm telling you, not one person says, that's a dumb idea, just get over it. The comments from the producer side of the deal is that doesn't need to be a paved road, just needs to be a good solid farm to market road with gravel. Now, Myron, you get up in the north end of the county, Cedar Township, there was put in place up there a farm to market road that would take you from West Kenny Miller's place on into LaPorte City to the elevator in town. And maybe it's a stretch to think that the reason they built the high road north of town was to accommodate the folks that lived out that way on their way into Benton. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But getting back to this program, I end up being kind of a numbers freak, so take this with a grain of salt. But if we theorize that there was 10 square miles south and east of town that would benefit from the installation of a farm to market road, those 10 square miles would produce 600,000 bushels of corn in a year's time, 180,000 bushels of beans in a year's time. And that's over 1,000 loads of grain that would have the potential to come to town if it was safe and convenient, okay? Now, we all know, and I think it's generally agreed, that the county home road is dangerous. And it's particularly dangerous when we pull out on there with a tractor and two 650 bushel wagons when the kids are going to or coming from school. I can tell you from my personal experience of using the county home road to come to town before school and after school, 5 stop signs between the Lutheran Church and 218, five of them, to say nothing about the notion that we need to drive by the Tilford Elementary School, which according to Kyle, the new superintendent out there, he tells me there's round numbers, 500 little bunches that go to school to elementary school. There's 70 staff members plus or minus, okay? Currently, if you stay away from the dirt road, you come up through town past high school, they tell me at the high school there's roughly 440 students and another 60 plus staff members. I'd like to read you a letter that was sent to you folks March 9th of last spring from the school district. This is signed by Mary Jo Heenstock. But I took the opportunity to visit with Kyle, the new superintendent, and he says, I can't add anything to that. That's perfect. That says what we needed to say, okay? So in it, for what it's worth, the part says to the Benton County Board of Supervisors, please consider this a letter of support to review and consider upgrades of 61st Street East of Highway 218 that is currently a dirt road. Currently, many farmers and vendors must drive either 13th Street past Tilford and then travel south or even drive north on 21st Street north side of the high school and then on First Avenue past the east side of the high school, It's been estimated, yeah, he's said the same thing I did with the 600,000 bushel corn, 180,000 bushel beans. Providing a safe learning environment is the school's #1 priority. To serve our farmers' ag business needs, they are using roads and streets in proximity of our students with semis, large tractors, grain wagons, and other large equipment. Many of these pieces of equipment can be oversized or hauling dangerous chemicals. If 61st Street was upgraded to have at least a gravel base instead of being a dirt road, our agriculture business committee would be able to use these as their farm to market route, alleviating the use of roads next to our schools, providing a safe environment for the kids. Gravel road could handle the heavy and wide loads commonly associated with ag community. There's new housing developed south, This is the important thing. School district is willing to work with the county and the city as far as how this upgrades may occur. Please contact me if you have any questions. Okay. Board of Supervisors. Took the liberty to, that night we visited with the Farm Bureau group. Darren Stein sent me a letter. He is the president of the County Farm Bureau group. As I'm writing this letter on behalf of Benton County Farm Bureau, one of our farmer members came to us earlier this year and presented to our board of directors with his concern. After much discussion, the directors voted to support this issue. The issue on 61st Street is the issue, and the desire to have it upgraded to farm to market road. With agriculture equipment growing in size, higher yields, increased school and youth activity south end of Benton, we believe safety is top priority for all of us as farmers and the community. We'd like to see a proactive approach to public safety and upgrading the mile of the said road to farm to market grade. We anticipate the potential upgrades of such stretch of road would allow for semis, tractors, wagons, chemical applicators, sprayers, fertilizer equipment, and suppliers to be delivered away from the Benton-Shellsburg school and surrounding growing residential areas. The Farm Bureau. Troy Kohler is the general manager of New Century Farm Service, although he's based out of Grinnell, Iowa. He rides herd over this installation out there, which is huge. I can't tell you exactly how many tons of fertilizer goes in and out of that facility every year, and as I understand it, has a substantial amount of the tax base and the employment base, and Here's a letter from Troy. This is a letter to encourage the establishment of Farm to Market Road on 61st Street, which is currently dirt road. Improvements to the road would benefit the community by reducing the traffic on 13th. As an agricultural supplier in this area, an improved road would add safety to the local community and reduce traffic in the populated area. The following key points are what we, our local patrons, would benefit from the road. 400 tons of anhydrous ammonia applied in this area, minimizing navigation through the residential area. 100+ round trips on dirt road needed today to operate safely and minimize navigation through the residential area. The post sprayers and floaters driving the dirt road when conditions are permit would stay off the county home road, which is very narrow and difficult to navigate with oversized equipment. Minimize navigating our equipment in the residential area and the school zone. So, you know, he's going, come on guys, let's do something here, okay? Tama Benton Co-op out here, just to give you a quick overview. Their history, in my opinion, is dependent on the use of the railroad. I'll put this in economic terms. When we haul corn to Cedar Rapids, our freight rate's 16 cents, let's call it that. Their rail freight's about 9, okay? So if they could make an extra 6 cents a bushel by locating the stuff here, think about that if we were taking 1,000 loads off the highways, putting it on the rails and sliding out of town. If I were king, they would push a train out of here every night. They'd go through Cedar Rapids after 10:30 at night. They'd dump the rail, they'd turn around, they'd come back home with the empty cars in the morning. And can you imagine the wear and tear that would not happen to Highway 30, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They're on board. They want to see it as improved. I talked to the boys out at Farm Service this morning, and I said, how wide are your floaters when you go down the road? So large floaters are typically 16 feet wide. My combine is just under 20 feet wide without the head. So when we think about, can we do that on a road that's 17 feet wide with no ditches? I mean, I don't want to be too negative. It's a joke. Okay. I've got signatures here from Lance Littlebridge, who last spring at least was the president of the Benton County Corn Growers. He is currently the vice president of the Iowa Corn Growers Association. They have taken this issue to their state board, and they have made an official statement that they are going to make the establishment of farm and market roads one of their priorities. They think it's time that these things be addressed properly and built properly. A letter here from Lance. I have letters here signed from both banks in town, Farmers Bank and US Bank. I have here letters from your township trustees in Taylor Township and Eden Township, and I have yet to receive one negative comment on this road, and the general theme is, it's about time, let's get this done, okay? Now then, for my selfish reason, the farm to market road would serve us quite well. But I don't think we can minimize the safety aspect of this as we look at our schools in town. I'm telling you, when you haul grain or equipment past the Tilford School out here on 13th Street, you got one foot on the clutch and one foot on the brake, and you don't have enough eyes to watch the little bunches over here and little bunches over here. The new superintendent says, what can we do? And I'm not sure, but let your voice be heard, okay? Let me quit there for a minute and ask you where you're at from where we were like last February. What has been done? Maybe I already got the things in motion. Where are you at?
Well, we have had some conversation obviously since then, and I recommended you come forth here.
Yeah.
And when Myron was in here, because he knows more as far as the progress than we do, where it's at on our radar. We as a board understand that it's something that needs our attention. And farm equipment has come a long way since the Model A days.
Doubt if it's gonna get any smaller.
I doubt it gets smaller.
Good.
That's very true. My question when we talked was, I'm not sure along that road, what portion is city, what portion is county. I have no clue if that matters.
So that's not been reviewed.
I don't know that.
Yeah.
This is a minor question, again, not knowing if this is a city, a Benton, and a Benton County coordinated effort or what.
My very uneducated opinion on that is, from people I've talked to at the city level, is when they annexed in the new area where the new housing development is, they stopped just north of the road.
Yeah, yeah.
They said, that ain't our deal, that's the county's deal. Whether that's true or not,
Sure.
I'm trying my very best to be positive on this. But I have been lied to before by those folks. And so I'm saying that's an issue that needs to be checked into. I will tell you this, with regard to the property owners on the north, if I was king, here's what I would do. You can't move the road on the south side because there's power poles, that gets spendy. So you gotta come to the north side of the road. You've got Kirk Appleby owns roughly a quarter mile. Kirk says, tell me what you need, pay me fair price, life goes on. When John Anderson owned the property to the east, he said, tell me what you need, get the paperwork done, and I'll sign it. Well, now the school district owns that, right? To the east of there, they do, and it's part of the swap with land that John had given to him up by the school. Now it's down there. My sense is that I can convince the school district to say, look, it's one tax-funded entity to another. We're gonna ask you to deed us 50 more feet, 60 more, pick a number, and I don't know what the number is. You're gonna deed that to the county, and we're gonna move that road to the north, you see. So.
Okay. As far as funding goes, Myron, with farm to market, and I know there's, you've come to us before regarding roads, et cetera, with farm to market. I'm sure it's not an easy hoop to jump through to get grants and funding or et cetera, but where's all this go? How do we proceed?
From the farm to market fund, and farm to market from the state's, from the sound of the word and the way the state system of farm to market roads work, really probably aren't as connected as the term sounds.
Say that again, Myron.
The farm to market term and the roads that are on the farm to market system, the term itself, as it sounds, may not have a lot of connection. Is and isn't, but the farm to market system statewide is a map of identified roads that are on the farm to market, that are in the farm to market system. Those initially were set up years ago by a city representative, a state representative, and a county representative. Generally with the county engineer, the city representative typically was a mayor of one of the communities in the county, and the DOT had an individual that made up a three-person committee that went through each individual county and identified the roads they wanted to call farm to market. In the last 20 years, it goes to a board now that's made up of 6 or 8 people.
Of what kind of people?
6 to 8 people. I know there are multiple county representatives on that. They look at, there are some criteria that they come up with that make sense to be classified as a farm market route, and then that can be reviewed by each county submitting an application with a criteria. In this case, a particular road is that it has to have connectivity. Each intersection, let's say, would need to be asking for a new identified road. Each end of that intersection would have to already be farm to market on the map, or you would need to extend that so that was the county home road is a farm to market route. Highway 218 is considered a farm to market route. It shows where concrete is, but you've got to go to, what is it, 27th, I think, the New Hall North extension is farm to market. There isn't anything in that quadrant right there that is farm to market. So just to call that 3/4 mile stretch farm to market, a person would have to extend that designation farther than just that short distance, because 25th is not,
So in other words, you couldn't call a 1 mile stretch farm to market, right? So what you're saying?
not unless each end of the mile was farm to market.
Got it.
And in this case, it
Got
isn't. So there isn't farm to market funding right now. I mean, it could be applied to become that, but you're not gonna be just talking that 3/4 mile. You're gonna have to go farther yet so that you can make a connection to an existing farm to market. Right? So from the standpoint of funding, for the most part, right now, it would probably just be county funding. It would be a matter of balancing your budget. Maybe it's reducing activities elsewhere. Maybe the county looks at eliminating 5 or 10 miles of rock road that's out there to pay for this. I mean, throw a higher number than mile for mile, because if you're gonna go out and put a rock base that has been mentioned more than once this morning on some of the letters that have been submitted, you know, the rock base, the rock that has been put down over the years has been enough to cover up the old dirt surface, but as the rock breaks down, the existing rock that's on existing rock road is relatively minimal. We add annually. And so county's gonna have X amount of dollars to work with, you know, from a budget standpoint. And this road is deemed continues to be deemed a necessity and a priority. I only say that maybe come down to a budget issue, that you may have to look at other projects, other areas that are relying heavily and only on county funding that may need to be adjusted.
Peter to pay Paul, basically. Sure, I get that. Yeah, let something go in order to cover that. I'm sorry to jump in there, but I think it was Lance Lillibridge that's appointed to this as VP to a state board, and they're working heavily to qualify more.
One other chores this legislative session will be to work with the Iowa legislature to beef up funds for farm to market roads. A conversation I had last winter with Tim Kapucian said, and he was pretty tight with some of the people from the DOT, so we could ask the question of the right person to get the appropriate answer. And he said, they're not funding farm to market. DOT's not doing much with farm to market roads, his words. You know, he said that's kind of, you know, so if you were looking in that direction, like Myron said, probably gonna be not so easy to do.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking at this road and it's dirt now. Something needs to be done.
Yep.
And what I would suggest is that right fresh out of the chute, when you're working on the road, you don't make it a 2-lane road, you make it a 4-lane road.
I got it right here.
Well,
go ahead.
That's what needs to be done, really.
Yeah.
And then while we're there, we just do it now. The thing that I'm thinking about is that road that goes from the Blairstown Blacktop out to the dairy. That's been there for 20 years and it hasn't had hardly any maintenance on it, and there isn't any holes in it. I don't know what that is, but there's a lot of traffic on that road and there's a lot of heavy traffic.
Well, obviously, it's got a very good base to it. And so that's what Myron was indicating, that you just can't go out there and throw gravel on, has been the pattern previously.
Yeah, it takes 2-3 years really to get.
It's gonna have to be built up, it's gonna have to have, is it a macadam base or something like that? Yeah, I'm not a engineer, but
And
You
then-
gotta get a good base into it to have it last.
The area that's right next to the highway, it's sloped up to the highway, and that really needs to be brought back a ways so that you don't pull up to the highway and stop with 800 bushel of corn behind your tractor and then you can't get
And
it
try to get it
going.
moving.
Well, I don't know that there's a question as to a need or how to do it. Bottom line's gonna come down to what's it gonna cost the county and what are we gonna give up in order to see it through?
Well,
And is that worth giving up whatever to see it through? I guess we'd have to see what
what
the
really,
trade-off is.
what's really kind of bothered me is the city of Benton, we get it all fixed up and then they'll annex it in. I think that's
Can
what's
they
gonna
do
happen.
that without the county's approval? Can they just say, "Oh, okay, now it's got to, we're gonna add"? Is that possible?
I think it is.
They have to give you notice and.
So-
I mean, they give you notice, but they can proceed with that. There is,
Say that again?
so they would give notice that you would, that the county would be aware they're moving in that direction, but I don't know that stopping the action is an easy action if even that possibility.
I'm reminded of a project that's probably 20-some years old over in Urbana. Rick helped me with this, you're sharper on this stuff. I'm aware of the fact that a number of years ago, there was $2 million worth of general obligation bonds that were floated by the county to develop. It was either the REC group or the stuff up there where Hutton stuff is. And they were geo bonds and they were to be paid for by the new wealth established by new growth in this TIF district. And if there was adequate new tax base there, the cabbage on to pay back this $2 million. But it wasn't to come out of the general fund of the county over a period of, I think it was 20 years. And I've often wondered whether or not the new wealth and the property tax that was generated, the county's portion of it, even got close to paying the interest. I doubt it did. And I need to quit on this because I can't get over it, but I just need to quit. But I want to share with you, the way that thing was done is, here's this TIF district. We floated $2 million worth of geo bonds, county did, and every property taxpayer in the county paid for those bonds. The thing that bothered me is when the geo bonds were paid off in full, then the 62% of the property tax in that area went to support the Center Point Urbana School District, even though the patrons of the Belle Plaine School District, the Benton Community School District, the Benton Shelter School District paid the debt off. And that's bad government. But if you're looking for a funding source in this, I'm gonna ask a question, float a geo bond. Let it be paid over 20 years. Write it in such a fashion that if the city wants to do something with that road, maybe you make that road part of the TIF district that they used to do some of the infrastructure for that development, huh? Maybe you do that. And I'm not smart enough to know how that stuff is done. But I can tell you as a matter of fact that I sense that we're probably in agreement on the need for this thing to move forward. It would mean something to me if you took that to a vote and the Board of Supervisors says, yep, we're gonna consider this high priority and we're gonna move in the direction of getting something done sooner rather than later. I'll tell you, I'm personally sick and tired of trying to drive the Ho Chi Minh Trail to get to 218. And I'm personally tired of when the boys grade the road to try to make it accessible, we end up with chunks of concrete that were buried in the middle of the road 25 years ago. We drive over them with a truck, and rarely there's been a year that we didn't end up with a tire or two that was compromised as a result of that. I know this year we went up past the high school, and what a mess. What a mess. We happened to do this one Friday night when there was a football game. I said to the boys, let's shut them off. We're not doing this. We're not running a dirt road. And my frustration is, I know it has to be this way, but I don't have to like it. My frustration is at the speed at which government moves. In my operation, if something doesn't suit me, I figure out how to fix it. If it makes me mad enough, I fix it, and then I figure out how I'm gonna pay for it, you know. But I know you can't work that way. But I've got, as I talk to these producers out and others out, I said, tell me what your vision of a farm to market road out there would look like. And I've got some stuff here for it. I've got some stuff here. One of the things that I'm really frustrated about now that we're on the same page and we think something needs to be done, in plain terms, what in the hell was going on when the city was allowed to use that east intersection in the way they did to do the things they want to do? You know, previously, it's out in the country, it's there. Now we have a walking trail that goes down that road, and we cross 61st Street once, and then we turn to go east, we cross it again so that we can have a leisurely stroll past the waste treatment plant. And the radiuses of those corners, in my mind, aren't adequate to move semis in and out of there. And I've had a conversation with Matt Bogus and their engineering group with regard to that. I'm going, who signed off on this? Who said this would be okay to do this way? And Myron has said, never asked me to sign off on it. I've looked at their plans. But I'm going, how do these things happen? How do they happen, Myron?
Well, that group came to the board of supervisors one day and talked about their trail, and which was the first I had even heard about it. I talked about looking at it. The plans, the project was put together, I learned about it, I think a week before the letting, because there was a question from a supplier as to why certain material was being.
Yep. Concrete instead of other stuff.
Yeah. Why one type of material was specified and not another type of deal, and why I was doing it. And I was like, I don't even know what project we're talking about.
There you go.
I went to I found a set of plans. They utilize a facility in Cedar Rapids, printing company that a lot of cities and other entities use. They have a web-based file, basically, so they can put the plans in there. I went in and got the plans, and what I was seeing was, you know, the existing surface was going to remain exactly the same width-wise and level-wise through that. Looking at things, I didn't see anything that immediately caught my attention until you brought it up to my attention here a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. Well, they've chiseled about 3 feet off the west side of that road from the north of the bridge to the dirt road. They've narrowed that up, and those of you who know me know that I don't much mince words. I talked to the Baker boys who were doing the project, and I said, you either replace the shoulder of this road, what you've taken out of here, or I'll stand on your arrows, and you won't get paid until you do, because you've skinnied up that road. It was tough enough to make that curve coming out past Wade Street. But I don't want to spend too much time on that road, because that road's a whole separate issue that I think needs to be addressed. But my focus today needs to stay on 61st Street, okay? And if I were king, and based on the discussions I've had with your township trustees south of town, with the suppliers in town, with the people who own the land, et cetera, and I don't want to be offensive here, but I'm going to put this on the table just as plain as I can. With regard to 61st Street, which is currently a dirt road, the first thing would happen is there would be the acceptance of an advisory committee to provide input on the design of the road improvements, and they would approve the final plans. The second thing is the specs for that plan would be a road width wide enough to accommodate modern ag equipment. 36 feet wide is probably asking for quite a bit, but I can tell you that that farm to market road up there in Cedar Township that heads towards LaPorte City is 31 feet wide. And it's got a sweeping radius where it hooks on to the blacktop road, and it is, we've used it. And it'll accommodate semis without worrying about how close are you to the edge, right? So I'm going to say the road width should be wide enough to accommodate the traffic. I'm thinking 36 feet wide. No vertical slopes right next to the road. If you get close, you're in the weeds, okay? An appropriate base and finish rock. The Sila Foundation would tell you it's good enough to be a good old hard surface gravel road, good enough for our purposes, okay? On the west end, as it sits next to Highway 218, there's an asphalt approach to the highway that drops off to the east just a little bit. I'm saying, why would we disturb that? But I'm saying, at that point, I'd like to see an 80-foot shelf, a flat shelf, so that you could pull up there with a mechanical front drive tractor, two 650 bushel wagons loaded with corn, and you could set level until the traffic cleared and went away. Same thing with a semi-cream, you could set their level. So I'm thinking an 80-foot shelf. And then the corner radiuses to the east end of 61st Street to allow safe entrance and exit. And I think it's too damn, I think it's too damn tight in here now. I just think it's too damn tight. The people from the Blowing Trail who built it say these boxes are heavy enough you drive semi over. And I said, don't forget you said that. Don't forget you said that, because it's not done right. You just don't forget you said that. Okay, and then the other thing is the appropriate ditch design to allow for snow removal, which the city has failed on now with your walking trail, because where are you gonna put the snow? And maybe it doesn't make any difference in the wintertime, huh? The appropriate snow removal and drainage. You know, my hope would be, as long as you're asking, if 40 foot might get you by, fine. Take 60 feet and do it right. Get you some ditches there with some capacity. Get the height of the road up adequately so you don't have to 10 years for not worry about it. And then I would say this road needs to be good enough to be the sub-base for someday if they want to pave it to accommodate the housing development to the north side. Follow what I'm saying? The base work is done. Okay. But the key to this thing in my mind is, if I were king, I would want to have appointed, probably shouldn't call it a common sense committee, but people who are cognizant of what agriculture needs to make sure that those things were put in place so we didn't have to, when it's all said and done, go, should have been 6 feet wider, or should have been different. I don't know anything about engineering, and I know Myron's crew, they're busier than the dickens doing all the things they do. Wouldn't bother me a bit if this project was sent out to an independent engineering division to say, here's our parameters. Let's do this. And of course, it's easy for me to sit here and say, if I was king, we would select that engineer this winter, he'd work on it this winter, put it out to bids this spring, and we'd do it this summer, we'd have it ready for harvest next fall, if I were king. I'd like to be 18 years old
that
again,
fast
too.
in government, as you.
What's that?
Wheels don't seem to roll that fast in government, as you very well know.
Oh, I know that, but I don't have to like it.
Yeah, that's very true.
You know.
And I'm a lot of, like you, on approach. Many times if I see something that needs fixed, I
Just
just
fix it.
do it and I figure it out later.
Right.
That's true, but we can't do that on a county level.
I'm aware of that.
And so, I think the board is in agreement that something needs to be done to that road and it needs to be done correctly. What we need to do is get some estimates. We gotta know what we're talking about before we do anything.
I think you need to set some parameters for your
Very
estimate.
true. And just like you have done, that's just good common sense, as you indicated. And so with some common sense goals, I'm sure Myron's got a lot of extra time, not. But he needs to come up with maybe an estimate, a guesstimate at least, of what it would cost to take care of that road as well as the.
The biggest thing that I see with that road is eventually there's gonna be houses on both sides of the road. I mean, you gotta look down the road 50 years.
Yeah.
Because how long has that been a dirt road?
This side forever.
Since it was, yes.
All right. So, and I think about this along Highway 30 all the time, that there's people want to build stuff down there. Really what needs to happen is they need to have a frontage road along Highway 30. Highway 30 is gonna get more traffic, not less traffic, especially after it gets to be 4-lane in town. And if you go up to Dubuque, you see all that. They got the old road is closest to the city where all the stuff is really needs to be better than out here by Independence. But out here at Independence, they don't have any frontage roads. They don't have any roads there for 6 or 8 miles till they get to the next exit.
Well, that's all well and good, but we're only talking a 1 mile stretch. If
Right.
somebody hits 70 mile an hour
Right.
on that road, they're gonna run off the other end.
Yeah.
I understand that, but
As far as
if we're
frontage road, that's gotta be
if we're
development planning down the road.
if we're building it, it needs to be built right now.
Well, we're not going to, I would not be in favor of providing driveways, if you will, for frontage roads.
Well, I would agree
which
to
is
that, but
futuristic. And
you
you're
need it.
correct, 50 years from now, we may be looking at the same scenario that we've got right now with it going through residential districts and past schools, et cetera. What are we doing, shoving it off? I can see that, but, you know.
Well, I'm not saying that we need that kind of a road today, but we at least need to get the right of way so that it's there and that it's.
The common sense.
Yeah, so people can't build right up to the road.
Let me divert your attention for just a minute back to this project that the Parks and Recs group's going on. What needs to happen between the interest being served of the agricultural community in that area is the Farm to Market Road and their desire to have a walking trail? I mean, I have suggested that they need to take the crossing up the road further, cross over the east side, take it down the east side, so that twice down there at that intersection, they have to interface with the ag traffic, which I think is the worst damn idea I've heard of. And Matt Boggs, to his credit, we had a conversation with him, he said, you know what, Wayne? My focus was on a walking trail, and he's gone. And Friday, he said, let me get a hold of our engineers, can you get together with the money? And I said, well, I'll talk to the money. We stood out there yesterday morning and I heard my opinion, and the engineer goes, yeah, okay, all right, let's see what we can do here. What I'm saying is, next spring, they're gonna pave that, and then there it is. And so what I'm saying between now and then, I would like to see a committee representing the interests of the county to sit down with those folks and say, look, we're not doing it this way. You're gonna have to change that because it's inappropriate for what we're trying to accomplish. I don't know if you can do that or not. I mean, my understanding was, can you put this walking trail in the easement? Sure, that's fine, go ahead. And the unintended consequence, we got mess down here.
Well, as long as it's not set in stone or concrete, I think it can probably be changed.
Can I ask you guys, Myron or whoever, to set that meeting in place where the county and the city and the Parks and Rec sit down with their engineers and say, this ain't gonna work. It's not gonna work.
If you and I could get together, I have not gone out there, very truthful.
Just give me a
I would
listen.
love to go out there with you.
Yeah.
If we're not freezing to death. And
Good.
we're wading through a foot of
Every
snow.
farmer you've ever known, when they went to look at something, they never got out of their pickup. Okay, so you understand, that will be
Okay,
fine.
I will get a hold of you.
That'll be
okay?
fine.
Let
Anytime.
you and I take a look at that as chairperson here. I will get a hold of the city. I'll take that responsibility and I'll have a look at it. But we do need to get moving on. We've got other items on.
Would you start with Matt Bogus from Parks and Rec, because he's,
And again, you and I can discuss that.
yeah, okay.
So I think you know that we all are in agreement that it needs to be looked at. We're gonna have to get some.
So, am I out of line asking for a vote to confirm the desire of the Board of Supervisors to make improvements to that road to make it fit the needs of agriculture?
At this point in time, you are, because it's not on the agenda to take action. It's a discussion.
All right, well, okay. I can't ask for more than that. I appreciate your time and your patience on it.
Thank you.
And I'll do anything I can to help you move this thing forward.
And let's get together, please.
Anytime, just give me a
Well,
whistle. I'm not going to
you know where I'm at.
Jamaica.
Mexico.
Just give me a call, Rick.
Okay. So,
Thank
and
you.
if you don't hear from me, you call me.
Oh, I will.
I know you will. But I just left that door open, right?
What's that?
I just left that door open.
Yeah, it's okay. All right, thanks.
All right, thank you, Wayne.
Yep.
Thank you, Myron.
Everything else, I just, we're just in my schedule, to be here to listen to one.
I appreciate that. Okay, well, we missed our 10 o'clock, but let's roll with it. So, all right.
Do you want him to present first or Lorie? Quick.
Well,
Sorry. I know you were on at 10, she was actually on before.
Okay,
that's fine. Oh, the 9:45.
Yeah.
I guess we missed that one
Tracy
too.
was on, yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
She'll probably be quicker at that.
Yes.
Okay. This is Tracy, is that correct? Okay.
Shall I just stay here?
Yeah. No, a little more time.
Hear me okay, Tracy?
Yeah.
Okay.
You
All
have
right, so
handouts,
Nate,
do you?
did you have the letter in your packets? The,
This one?
yeah,
I don't know that I got that.
I have one here. I have a copy.
You got two?
Yep. Want one too? Sure, yeah, that's one. I do. I stopped at the office, which I was just sweating it on the way up here thinking,
I got one.
you got one.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Thinking I was gonna be late because I got to the office and there were some things I needed to take care of. Yeah, so this is my annual request for money for the Housing Trust Fund. As you know, the Housing Trust Fund, so we are, first of all, let me say, I have both of your representatives. So Tracy represents Benton County on the East Central Iowa Housing Trust Fund, and so does Kathleen. Kathleen the other representative for Benton County.
Hey, Gary, can you catch the door, please? Larry's out there.
Oh, I'll get it. And
I didn't know I could have sneaked in this way. I went through the whole rigmarole.
I did too, all signed in and everything. And I wasn't sure how to do the temp thing. I'd never done one where you
Stand up.
approach it, so I think the core security guy thought, oh, this woman is just not very bright.
Somebody thought it was a camera. They were standing there
Well, that's
smiling.
what I'm doing. That's what I thought it was, like you were documenting who was coming in.
No.
So, you know, we use the Housing Trust Fund dollars to benefit people of low to moderate income. And it can be, it has to be about housing, it can be in any form. The chart, the table that I have at the bottom of the first page, I just add to it every year before I come. So the total number of households since the Housing Trust Fund first was awarded, we have benefited 85 households with Housing Trust Fund dollars. And then we also have another source of funding. We use some of our Housing Trust Fund dollars to apply to the Federal Home Loan Bank, which is not federal government dollars, but it's a federal program that's across the United States, so they call themselves the Federal Home Loan Bank. And that, we have used those dollars here as well. And that was, you know, over time, that's been an additional 18 households. So the total that we have helped in Benton County has been 103 households for a total of dollars of $666,125. So you guys have been generous to us to provide funding. You know that if we have an opportunity, we apply to the state every year. And then we have to show a 25% local match. And a portion of that local match has to come from local entities. And so that's why I come to you and ask. So let me just say this in regard to those numbers. So in this last year when I came to you, the letter was dated, it was effective November 5th of 2019. So since November 5th through the end of November 2020, we have actually spent $170,395 of Housing Trust Fund dollars only that helped 12 households in Benton County.
And of the Federal Home Loan Bank program, we spent $89,431 in Benton County to help 7 households, okay? So your money, I guess that's to show you that your money goes a long way for what you provide to us. So this year, I'm actually increasing it a bit again. I did last year for the first time in a couple years, and I'm doing it again this year because there's word that they are going to try and remove a cap that we've had across the state on all housing trust funds, and if they get that cap removed, we'll have a chance to apply for even more dollars than we get right now. So I'm gonna have then more local match that I need to cover. So the total amount I'm asking from all 4 of the counties that we cover is $12,500. Yours went up, I was sitting here doing the math, I think about $470 from last year. So the total that I'm asking of you guys this year is $3,850. Last year, you were asked and provided the local match of $3,388. So, and over time, you know how I said that we've spent $666,000, you've provided $17,818 of local match over the years as well. So you've given a significant amount too. You know, we help to provide down payment assistance to the Anderson Creek, 9 of the homeowners there, and then I think HACAP's program did some more programs that were here, and then we did a significant number of FHLB projects, which are owner-occupied houses, helping them fix up their houses or do repairs to their houses that they need. Questions?
I'll just make a comment. I'm glad you asked for an increase this fiscal budget year rather than next. So next might be a little tougher with that duration of the county.
Yeah. Yeah.
Would you agree, Larry?
Not necessarily, but I'm not even gonna go, I mean, it's not gonna affect your taxable value very much. So that's, we talked about that already. We're talking about a fraction of a percent, so maybe.
And one of the other things that I'm doing is I do sit in, and Tracy knows this, I sit in on the, and Kathleen does too. I sit in on the Benton County emergency management meetings on Thursday mornings for the hour because I keep promoting the idea that the Housing Trust Fund could help people with, you know, housing that's been damaged by derecho, and we're trying to kind of figure out something we can do. So I do sit in on those meetings, the Zoom meetings, every week.
When you look at just under $18,000 invested over the years, and with a return of just under $250,000, I think that's pretty good investment. You know, yeah, very good.
I think. Thank you.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Questions, gentlemen?
None there.
Kept your close. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. We Yes, really you. appreciate Tracy's counsel on this committee. So, yeah,
Very good.
and he's very happy to be on it. I like putting words in his mouth.
I've been on it since
Well,
it
thank you for
started.
doing that.
It's been, what, about 11 years, and I think it's a worthwhile job to do as a volunteer.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a good holiday.
She's really
Thank you.
magical about how she can deal with all this.
But that's nice to hear from a board member. I have people, what's the word? Bamboozled, anyway, it doesn't matter. Thank you. Happy holidays.
And happy holidays.
Do we just sneak out, or do I have to
sure
go
can.
sign out?
Oh, you can go out.
Okay.
Wait for the
Thank
green
you.
light.
Appreciate your time, guys, and your
There's a
consultation.
light up the top of it.
And a way in or a way out. My
Uh,
card worked coming in, so I don't know if that's supposed to work or not.
Yeah, your card.
Yeah, your card in.
Yep.
Take care.
I didn't know that was out here anyway to start out with. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you, Tracy.
Yeah.
Tracy.
Young man.
Green light.
Lorie?
I apologize.
Green light.
Fine.
Up above.
You have to.
Red light, when it turns green. When it turns green. There you go, couple hours.
Thank you. Bye.
Just sit up here or at the table? Whatever you wish. Alright, I'll come over here.
We just moved our location to space out a little
No,
bit.
that makes sense. Alright, well, my name is Brian Burton, and I represent Group Benefit Partners, and we took over the ISAC Group Benefits Program, I guess it was late January of this year. And we had our first renewal with your county. It was a virtual setting, and that was kind of the onset of COVID, and most counties did go to a virtual setting as we finished up those renewals for this last fiscal year, that I guess that we're currently in, which is FY21. For the renewal that we're going to talk about is going to be for FY 2022. And your county is getting, I think, the largest increase within the entire association pool.
We didn't have a good wellness
The
turnout.
wellness participation was poor. The overall experience rating for your group over this last 3-year period, we lost one good year. We replaced it with a year that was above 100% loss ratio, where the association did lose money on your county. But it's important to note that your rates before this year were one of the lowest counties from the percent to the base rate that the association sets. So you're still under 90% of the base rate, which is better than a lot of counties, and we have 25 now that participate. Van Buren County joined in July. Appalachia County just joined a couple weeks ago. I do think the bargaining power and leverage of a larger pool is becoming even more important, especially with the increase in specialty medications. Counties that are on their own are coming to ISAC because they want rates before they have to certify budgets, so we're able to meet 7 months before you renew. Van Buren and Appalachia County, they were just struggling with the 90-day notice. So although I'm going to give you a double-digit increase, there is an option to come off of that, I think by about 8%. It would involve a plan change, a network change for employees, and we can talk about that. But if we just want to go past the cover page, I have a client overview with contact information, and I know we work with Haley and Nancy. So I just put the auditor's office, the address and tax identification number. The upper right-hand corner is group information as it pertains to employee benefits. Eligibility for full-time employees of 30 hours per week. Is there any part-time eligibility at all for employees?
I
with
think we
benefits?
had 2, but the one left employment and one worked full-time. So I think
Okay. All right. The new hire waiting period for a new hire with the county is first of the month following 30 days. You guys have 26 payrolls per year. And your post-employment coverage responsibility is to offer COBRA. You're an employer over 20 lives in the state of Iowa. The benefits overview at the bottom, and this is everything that we help you with today. You guys have the medical, dental, and vision with Walmart and Delta Dental, and they are both through the ISAC Group Benefits Program. So those are all ISAC plans. The medical and dental are self-funded at the association level. You're treated fully insured at the county level. And the vision is a fully insured product with exclusive pricing through the association's endorsement. Flex administration, I think we just wrapped up open enrollment for a January 1, so everybody was able to make their new flex selections for the next plan year. That does run on a renewal date of January 1st. The HRA with secure benefits, that also runs on a calendar year benefit because that's when the Walmart deductible and out-of-pocket starts over for all of your members. The accident program with Reliance Standard, this is a new benefit that the association is paying for anyone enrolled in medical. It's voluntary for employees to buy spouse and dependent coverage, and then also to buy up to an enhanced plan. We'll show a highlight of that. And then the voluntary AD&D program that we've had with Chubb for a long time is rolling over to Reliance Standard for a January 1 effective date. where your employees can elect to buy up.
I think that's the paperwork you guys just got.
Okay.
That needs done by Friday, I think.
Yeah, that'd be the goal, yeah. I know there's a few counties that are probably gonna be into the Christmas week, but.
We're trying to give.
Yep, that's great.
If I may ask for us that are not real sharp when it comes to
Yep,
the abbreviations, what's HRA?
yep, health reimbursement arrangement. That's the buy down. A couple of years ago, you guys went to a $5,000 deductible and you bought it back down. So, yeah, great question. The next page is the employee cost share per month. So as you guys think about an increase, I just wanted to bring this to your attention as to what employees are paying of the overall total. And you guys have quite a few different classes with different cost share amongst each class. 2 dental classes and then 2 vision classes. Then it's just the retirees only where they're paying 100% of that premium for the dental and vision. And your cost area is very much in line with we work with 36 Iowa counties now, and I see a very strong contribution to single. I would say even your county's probably above par on the contribution to employee plus one. The next page is my office contact information, and then the team that I have in Des Moines. Within Group Benefit Partners, we actually have 5 offices in total. My office was new last August 1st. I actually left the old agency that used to work with the Isaf Group Benefits Program. They went to a request for proposal and they elected to come with Group Benefit Partners. I'm a local partner, and I'll be your sales contact and your renewal contact. Elizabeth now is doing all of the account management for your group. She's actually doing it for all 25 counties right now. Maddie is a new account manager, and as soon as she gets some more experience, we'll be introducing her to some groups. Samantha does all of the marketing to different carriers, putting the proposals together, and then Tyler's new, and he'll be doing some sales out of my office. I want to go to the ISAC tab. I put together an FY22 highlight sheet, just high-level points that I think is important for the board to know as to what the county's purchasing through the association. The health program with Walmart in the upper left-hand corner. Again, I've already touched on this, but the early release of Lorie is very important, it seems, for Iowa counties. Experience and wellness discounts. You guys are still getting an experience discount. The wellness, we did go to 0 this year, but that means you can try to get back to 5% for this next fiscal year, which would really, you could, if you just had participation in the wellness program and everything else stayed the same, you would likely get a decrease in your overall premium for the next fiscal year, so that's important to know. Multiple networks, I'm going to show you an option that is not the national network with Walmart, it's something that's very comparable. And then 25 counties, as I said, we had a couple new join in the last 6 months. The dental program of Delta, you guys buy the best plan. Today, we've added a new plan that's going to be slightly higher in benefit that we'll review. We offer voluntary, which means it's employee paid and contributory pricing, where the county pays a portion of the premium. That has 22 counties participating. The vision, you guys have Delta Vision. We have another plan option that I'll show you. The upper right-hand corner, worksite and ancillary program with Reliance Standard. The group accident and critical illness, again, you guys are currently doing the open enrollment for the accident program, and the association is paying for anyone enrolled in medical for employee-only coverage. So that's about 2,200 people that they're paying for that benefit for, and it's going to be an important part of the overall wellness program for this next year. Critical illness will be a voluntary offering for July 1, and we'll get you pre-populated forms like we did for the accident. The accident includes accidental death and dismemberment, so the association currently has a separate CHUB policy. We're terminating that at the end of the year, and it's going to be a part of the accident program. So you're going to be able to get all off-the-job accident coverage with indemnity benefits that we'll review, plus the AD&D, plus the wellness benefit. Voluntary life and voluntary AD&D. I believe that you guys still have your life insurance with Madison National. If you guys wanted to look at Reliance Standard, it could be put on Employee Navigator that does all of your enrollments. It does your medical, dental, and vision enrollments today. I think we also do the flex enrollments through Employee Navigator. And if you have any disability products, voluntary, short-term, or long-term, that can be quoted with Reliance Standard and be put onto Employee Navigator. What you'll get if you do the employer-paid group term life, our voluntary life program has a $200,000 guarantee issue amount, which is probably 2 to 2.5 times what a county of your size could get on your own. Typically, those cap out between 75 and 100,000. We were able to get 200,000 due to the size of Isaf and having all 25 counties. Group benefit partners, that middle section. I think the most important thing that I can offer you is truly unbiased consulting advice. Yes, I represent ISAC, but I can also represent any other solution for you as a county. So ISAC does not hold me captive, which I think is important. I think that's a very strong selling point as you guys, for all of our current members, if you ever wanted to see a quote outside of ISAC to benchmark, I'd be happy to do that. The biggest downside is we can't start that process until March, which is going to make it tough for budgeting. So you really almost have to assume the budget, the numbers that you have now. If it's better, then you make that decision at that point in time. We have a dedicated county service team. Employee Navigator is really sponsored out of our office on behalf of ISAC, but we do all of the work to set up the ongoing maintenance of the platform. We offer compliance assistance. We help your members with partial self-funded claims throughout the year, that buy down. GASB reporting, we have some exclusive deals with different actuarial firms, 509A certifications that you have to do potentially for your partial
Would that
self-fund.
be like what we use NIHARD for?
Yeah.
Do that?
NIHARD is, we're working on some more preferred pricing, and NIHARD is actually the firm that
Okay, because that's who we use
normally would
currently.
recommend for your GASB. Okay, yeah, they do a great job. They work with a lot of Iowa counties today. And then the bottom right-hand corner, complimentary ISAC benefits, the wellness program. Again, you can get up to 5% savings on your county premiums, which at about $2 million, simple math, that's $100,000 for your county. Accident program, again, that's new as of January 1st, 100% paid for anybody in medical, for employee only. The auditor's offices now get a consolidated bill for the medical, dental, and vision. It's also going to include the accident program, so they just get one invoice and not three to reconcile, and it does save administrative time. And then the EAP program that the association pays for on behalf of all of your members. And we have a highlight sheet for that as well. Any questions on any of these highlighted overviews? The next page is a review of the 2021 ISAC Wellness Program. I believe there's a webinar tomorrow to go into this in more detail. And this is sponsored and funded by ISAC. I'm just here really just to give the high-level overview. Again, this benefit runs January to October 31. The program structure, based on the completion of a preventative exam. And so if employees get their annual exam and they upload the fax form, they're going to get $75 from Reliance Standard by being in the accident program. And that's going to be a check to them directly. So it's not going to be included in payroll, which will be a benefit. They're not going to have to pay state, federal, and FICA tax on that. If you have 80% of employees do that throughout the plan year, you get 4% off the FY23 premium. The association is doing well financially. I don't anticipate a large base rate change again for this next year. That's where I say if you guys could get this 5% or even 4%, I think you're looking at some really stable rates for the next 24 months. And then ISAC also provides $30 per county contract for wellness dollars for your own county-sponsored wellness program. The employee incentives at the bottom, $75 for the employee reimbursed through the accident program, $25 for the health risk assessment on the Mercy portal, and then they can get up to another $100 in different wellness pillars, again, also sponsored through the Mercy portal. Just any type of promotion that you can give. I know other counties they're doing actually where if they receive the discount, they share in those savings with the employees, something to try to drive participation. Just as FYIs, really. The next page is the Eap Benefit Summary. Phenomenal benefit. ISAC buys the best program they can. It includes 6 sessions per year for in-person and telephonic counseling. Financial counseling and legal counseling is free to the member to use, up to one issue per year. 100% confidential, it does not go through the health plan. Again, it's free to the member. We just need to promote it more. It's not, the utilization on this product is not good across all of the ISAC counties. All right, if we want to go to the medical tab, I first want to look at the utilization key. I think it's important to look at this and then we look at the rates next. So at the top of this page, we have the experience adjustment. In the upper left-hand corner, FY 18, 19, and 20, we're always looking at a 3-year trail of claims history. You can see the collective premium listed there for your county, starting at just over 1.9, ending at just under 1.5. You guys did move to that higher deductible plan and saved in premium, but you then funded claims through that buy-down HRA. So you can see your collected premium per year based versus your total expense. And this is all of your fixed costs that ISAC pays for your county, plus all of your claims below the deductible level that they buy from Walmart. And that was $100,000 for FY 18, $150,000 for 19 and 20. So you're going to see your use rate at 83%. You were profitable in FY 18. You were closer to a break even in 19, and then in 20, ISAC did lose money, but your 3-year average is still favorable at 92%. If you go to the key on the right-hand side, 92% qualifies you for the level 1 discount of 5% off the base rate. You're currently at 10%. The middle section is specifically looking at claims above the deductible that ISAC buys on your behalf at a self-funded level of $100,000 and then $150,000. You can see the stop-loss premiums for those deductibles that we buy, $172, and then decreasing because we bought a higher deductible at the association. You've had no members go over those deductible amounts, which is great. So you guys qualify for a 2.5% discount. You also had that last year. Your utilization was between 0 and 50%. So if we looked at the combined discount ratio at the bottom, we show FY21, which is current year and renewal. You start at 100%. Current year, you got 10% experience, dropping to 5. You kept the 2.5. Wellness, you lost 2%. You were at a -2 to a flat. And then the reserve fund adjustment, this was a dividend that ISAC paid back to the members of the association. You got 6% for the current year. They've lowered that to 3% for the renewal. So you effectively went from 79.5% of base rate to 89.5% of base rate. So you went up 10%, but the overall impact on the next page, we have current and renewal plan 11E, which is your current plan. Again, you're buying the $5,000 deductible for single, $10,000 family. The employees actually have a $500 deductible after the HRA pays. If you go all the way down to the bottom, the plan's not changing for current and renewal. 33 singles or employee only, 78 family. The renewal change was a 12.56% to keep everything as is, or $195,000 in annual increase. I will say that other counties that have gone to the partial self-funding, when they did that in 2018, they are now starting to come off of those old Plan 8 rates because you guys have likely built up a fairly significant reserve. It's probably much more than you need for the risk that you have. I'm doing this for every county that I've met with now is going to start coming off of those old rates because you just don't need to keep funding that HRA to such a high level. So that's certainly a conversation. If you'd like me to look at your reserve balance and do some forecasting for you to help you set rates, if you're interested in doing that, I'd be happy to do that. The one option I want to show you is Plan 17. The plan is identical in benefit if you look under the blue choice. The blue choice benefit is the same as you have with Alliance Select, the difference being Alliance Select is the national network, the PPO with Walmart. Blue choice is the point of service. So it's the Iowa HMO or the Iowa WIPI plan through Walmart. We have almost all the physicians, we have all the hospitals that you have in place today. Where they falter, where the HMO falters or the blue choice is chiropractic access in Iowa. you will lose chiropractors as an in-network benefit level. However, they will all fall under the non-network benefit level. That is the PPO. So your current network is actually going to be under the non-network. And so we've had 2 counties do this. We've had some initial pain with people losing their chiropractor, but the deductible and out-of-pocket doesn't change, and the partial self-fund could still pay for that. So they lose their copay, per se, but they still get their $500 deductible, their $1,000 out-of-pocket
Whatever
maximum.
they pay out of their pocket to the
Can still go
chiropractor.
towards your deductible and out-of-pocket, correct. We get deeper discounts with the HMO network in Iowa versus the PPO, and ISAC passes that 100% on to you, the county, and you're gonna see that it's a significant decrease in premium. We did look at this last year. I had Walmart run a report. We are going to see a disruption of all claims of about 5%. We're talking about a very small percentage of claims. Almost all of those are going to be chiropractic claims. Everybody else, the 95%, they're going to get deeper discounts. The county's going to save money first, and then for the employee's deductible and out of pocket, we're going to reimburse less on those claims than we would on the current network. And it's a significant savings, and this savings is going to materialize every year. It's always going to be 8 to 9% less than your current PPO. There's the only other Iowa 28E for counties and cities, all they offer now is Blue Choice. They don't even offer the PPO anymore, just due to cost. So I think it's nice that ISAC still certainly offers both options. But the trend is going to be more counties are going to look at this just due to cost. And it's really the only other option within the portfolio that I'd ever recommend for your group. We would need new ID cards, but we're so far, we have 6.5 months before your plan renews. Everybody will keep their deductible and out-of-pocket credits. They'll roll over pretty seamlessly. Any questions at all on that option?
How much feedback are you going to get if we drop that chiropractic?
I don't know without looking at, claims and see who all uses that.
Sure. I get that can go towards their deductible, but do they have a lot of deductible plus the chiropractic,
Big stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure there's gonna be some yipping and bitching.
Mm-hmm. There will be, initially. A couple groups did it for July, now it's all gone away, and everybody's fine, and they get in the process.
Yeah.
There's some initial pain whenever you make a change.
12.56%.
But then if you look at their
versus 3.85.
premiums, if they want to pay that difference versus.
Yeah, and we have counties that offer the point of service and the PPO. You could absolutely do that. And they can make their choice.
One or the other.
Do you have any idea, like, how much you guys have in reserves roughly since you guys started the partial self-fund?
I can run a full report on that cash balance here. Give me a second.
Because I do think all of you guys need, you're averaging about $225,000 a year in partial self-funded claims that buy down. You only need about 25% in reserves of your annual liability. And I know it's gonna far exceed that number. So you guys currently use the old Plan 8 rates. The new Plan 8 rates are 2 pages back. Those would be going up to $981 and $2205. I really don't think you need to do that, even on the current plan. So even if you just want to renew with the current 11E, I really think we can come off of those rates.
I just got an email from one employee. Don't get rid of the car now. They must be listening.
And it's not getting rid of the chiropractic coverage, it's just narrowing the network.
Right.
So narrowing the providers then?
Correct. Yep.
Is there any way to find out who the narrowing of the providers would be locally?
Yes, yep.
That'd be the key, I think.
You can go to Walmart and a provider, I can show,
Okay.
it's very simple to do that, absolutely.
I mean, because the board doesn't have to take action today.
No.
But it's just he's presenting all the.
Well, that option one
Yeah.
makes sense if we don't, cut employees' throats on the chiropractic.
And then if you leave Iowa, but we have very little usage outside of Iowa. Historically, if you do leave Iowa, everything is processed at the non-network benefit level. But you can still go to Mayo, you can still go anywhere in Illinois where the current provider is in network, there's still gonna be a network. It's just gonna provide, it's gonna process at the non-network benefit level.
We have 600, hold on here, I just zoom back out. 663,889 right now. Cash balance, that was the end of fiscal year.
And you say we would.
100 is very adequate.
Okay. I
Yeah.
wonder if some of that could be utilized then
I mean, because what we did
Yeah.
have them.
on the premiums.
It absolutely could. Yeah, I just had a county at 10%, we're gonna settle at 2.5, and they're still gonna put more into the reserve next year than they're gonna expense. So, I mean,
It's still always that risk because you don't know
I know.
who's gonna get sick or.
with the partial self-fund, you're limited to your risk of just the difference in the employees out of pocket to the plan that you buy, so it does, we have about 40 plans that we manage, and they all are very consistently between 20 and 25% of the overall exposure. And you guys actually fell right in the middle.
And can I share our NIHEART report with you too? If we do have you do that analysis with the reserve balance versus our HRA?
Oh, sure, yeah, and the GASB report is just for the unfunded liability for
Right.
retiree coverage, but the
Okay.
509A,
Yeah,
unless have you had to file a 509A for your partial?
No.
It's only if it exceeds 2% of your general fund,
that we have. not had to
so
do
you
that.
wouldn't have to do that, but I can just make that
If
analysis.
you could, that way, like before they make a decision, maybe we could see some of that.
I just pointed out a few options to the other group, and I'll do the same thing for you guys.
Okay, I think
Yeah.
it'd be helpful.
How many employees do we have in this?
Well, like right now, we have 33 on the single, 78 on family.
Oh, okay, that is on there.
Yep.
Yeah, 115 roughly, 120
Yep.
was. And it's a phenomenal benefit. Your $500,000 out of pocket is great for recruitment and
I'm
retention.
just wondering if maybe we could take some of that. And I wonder what the actual number is that is paid out of pocket. How much people have, well, I get that's the potential. 33, could have 33 people paying up to $500 out of pocket.
Up to 701. but-
Oh, no, the 33 are enrolled as single, 78 are enrolled as a family.
Right.
Yep.
And that deductible is $500.
Yep, but
For a
it's
single, or
correct.
$1,000.
For family.
For family. I get that. Well, what I'm thinking is, I wonder if there's a way to use this excess funding to offset their deductible, reduce the deductible.
That would be.
The county
like,
pays a certain portion of their deductible.
That would
that'd
be
be-
again through like the task or whatever we'd have to go.
Secure benefits, yeah, we have two other options that we've endorsed, Auxient and then Midwest Group Benefits. Nothing against Secure, it's just some of the reporting that's available and the employee communication is not up to the level of the two other options. However, it's slightly more expensive, but you get what you pay for.
What I'm getting at is what a benefit to our employees if they didn't have that full more deductible. You see what I'm trying to get at? Just-
Yeah, you guys have the best plan that I think one other county has, like that $250 deductible, but you guys have the best plan offered by ISAC or what was
Yeah.
historically offered.
That's
Yeah.
what I think too. I've always been told that.
Yeah. But I absolutely think your 12% increase could be half. That's only gonna absorb, 100,000 of your reserve funds, but you're still making more contributions than you're expensing in expenses, so. That's still going to grow for the next fiscal year, even if we take a large part of that increase away for the overall premium change.
Yeah.
So for sure, these would be our rates, so I could share with the department heads for the budgeting. The most would be the 1577 family and 701 for.
Yeah, those are the rates for your current plan. Again, I think you guys use the old plan 8 rates. Except for one.
11, yep.
Yeah, except for one class of employment based on what I have for the cost share, so, yeah, you can share both of those rates. And then it's the old Plan 8 rates that we can certainly reduce.
Okay, yep.
There just becomes a point where you guys have so much in reserves. It's just really almost overfunded. The state doesn't, to my knowledge, they don't put any cap on that. And it's certainly good to be in a strong fiscal position as it pertains to your healthcare reserve, but you guys do have a limited risk. So. If you want to go to the dental and vision, I'll do a quick review. And no rates are changing for dental due to COVID and essentially dentist clinics being shut down for 60 days. We're self-funded at the association level, so we didn't have any claims for the better part of 75 days. Instead of giving an increase, we did a no rate change for FY22. You guys bought or currently have the best plan offered through the association. It's the Isaf Plan 3. You buy 2-tier rates. At the very top under the network, we offer the PPO and the Premier. Employees have a $15 and $45 deductible for single family for the PPO, $25.75 for Premier. They get a $1,500 annual benefit for dental. For all preventative services, if they go to the PPO network, which is about 40% of Iowa dentists, it's 0%. 0% for Premier. Basic services, if you see a PPO dentist, you get a 10% better coinsurance. Orthodontia is also covered at the bottom, just above the premium section. This is a lifetime benefit to $1,500. You have 20 employee only, 48 family, and the rates are not changing.
That's good.
And there's a lot of stability in this product since we went from a fully insured to a self-funded dental program. And it's grown significantly. The next page is a portfolio of all the dental plans. You guys have Plan 3. Plan 4 is new and could be an option. The only difference is we've increased the annual benefit from $1,500 to $2,000, and then we also increased the orthodontia from $1,500 to $2,000. And you can see the 2-tiered rates under 50/50. You currently pay $40.46 and $94.47. They would increase to $42.36 and $102.41. Not a lot of utilization between $1,500 and $2,000. Actuarially, so there really is a very minimal premium change. Next page is your vision, current, and this is in a rate guarantee through 2024. You guys buy the 2-tier ISAC Delta Vision plan. It has a $10 copay for the exam, $130 allowance for frames and contact lenses. You can see under the glasses section, that third section down, single through trifocal is a $10 copay. Progressives are more expensive at a $75 copay and up. And then any lens enhancements carry an additional copay or an additional member charge. This is 100%. If I go back to the cost share, I think this is looks like you guys do make a contribution.
I think we divided it in half.
Yeah, that's what it looks like you guys did for the dental and vision on single. So you pay half of the single premium, 17 employee only, 40 families, and there's no rate change. And then the worksite and ancillary tab. The first page is the group accident insurance. This is the highlight sheet that employees currently have that are enrolled in medical as they're doing their open enrollment for this accident program. This is going to be for coverage for any accident that's off the job that they seek treatment for within 72 hours. So it is a phenomenal benefit. It's much more than just accidental death and dismemberment, which was the old ISAC benefit. Under the premium section, you can see that employee only for the core plan is $0. You can see the buy-ups are very affordable to add your spouse. And remember, your spouse and your kids can all get a wellness benefit of $75. So if they are getting their annual checkups, this benefit becomes very, very affordable because they can pre-tax their contributions. They get tax-free reimbursements for those wellness claims.
So for those that have Aflac and stuff, they can still double up on that
You
stuff?
can, yeah, if you want to, yeah.
Because I was asked that.
Yep, we can't, I would urge them to really compare the costs, certainly, and I know this will be less expensive if they have medical, and even if they don't enroll in medical, it'll be less than Aflac. I hate to see too many people have too many policies, but you can absolutely have multiple, if you like to do that.
And this one will replace, I know some that have been paying on the other dismemberment one from what, 20 years ago.
The voluntary accidental death, that will stay in the
That's
course.
still separate.
Yeah, that's still separate, but it's gonna do it for Reliance Standard.
Okay.
Yep. The back of that page shows the benefits. We have the core plan and the enhanced plan. If they go to the ER for any accident off the job, you get $225 for the core, $300 for the enhanced. The supportive care, that first white section, any follow-up, you get $100 or $150. Chiropractic and physical therapy pays up to 6 visits per accident at $50 and $75. So there are going to be some significant payouts for off-the-job injuries. And then at the bottom, you can see the AD&D is included, $50,000 for the employee or $100,000 for the enhanced. If they enroll their spouse and their child in the accident program, then this AD&D benefit applies. And then you can see the wellness benefit. If you enroll your spouse and kids, and they get their routine physicals every year, everyone would get up to a $75 wellness benefit. The next page is for anyone that's not enrolled in medical. The only difference is we increase the premium by $10.60 under the premium section for every line of coverage. If they compare that to an Aflac product, they're likely paying between $17 and $25 for that a similar product. So these are greatly reduced. The next highlight sheet in red is the voluntary group critical illness. This will be rolling out July 1, and we'll be able to provide Haley and her office pre-populated forms for everybody's, it's age dependent, but they're going to be able to buy benefits ranging from $10,000 to $30,000 for any critical illness event. If you turn the page, they'll show you everything that this benefit will pay for. Alzheimer's, it's 100% of face value. Life-threatening cancer, 100% of face value. Heart attack, a stroke, paralysis, major organ failure. This will pay 100% of whatever you buy, $10,000, $20,000, or $30,000, and it's up to 10 times you can collect that benefit. What's unique about this program, anybody with pre-existing conditions, you could have cancer, go into remission, this policy will be effective. There's no waiting period and there's no pre-existing condition clause, which is really unique.
Thank you.
The next highlight page after that premium section is the voluntary group term life. Again, I don't know if you have voluntary life today with Madison National or if it's just employer paid. This would be at the employee's expense, but again, $200,000 in guarantee issue benefit. You can have spouse only coverage. Spouses qualify for $50,000 in guarantee issue benefit. It's a flat $20,000 for any dependent children that the employees would like to cover. Again, it's all age banded. The rates are on the back of that page. If you guys have any interest in moving your life insurance over to Reliance Standard, you can add this additional voluntary life buy-up. And again, it will be on Employee Navigator where we handle all of the enrollments for those benefits along with everything else that's currently on the platform. And then Haley, the voluntary accidental death and dismemberment, again, that's just rolling over to the Reliance Standard.
Okay.
Here's the new highlight sheet, and then we'll have a new enrollment form for anybody that would like to take that as a new benefit.
Okay, otherwise it stays the same.
Yep.
They're already enrolled.
Premium stays the same, benefit stays the same. Yeah. If there's any interest, we have your census, we would need a current invoice, and we need a benefit summary to look at it.
Okay.
Any questions?
No, when do we need to decide on this?
Well, like I said, for budgeting, it'd be nice to know, but we know the most case, the most expensive case, but for July 1st, usually we renew with March.
Oh, yeah. I would say in the next week or two, I can get back with you with what I would recommend for Plan 8 rates.
Okay.
I don't think you really need to even give consideration to what I'm showing you here today. Of course, if you renew as is and you take the old Plan 8 rates, they're reflected there, but I wanted to at least have the conversation first to see if you had interest in buying those rates down. And I do think you probably should, or that reserve is just gonna keep
Building up.
growing, yeah. But the association as a whole, very fiscally sound. Again, if you can, I think a major focus for this next year for your county is wellness participation. You guys can really buy off a large portion of any base rate change for FY
I
'23.
think it was just real hard for them to, I mean, because it
COVID was tough.
well, COVID, but they still had to be responsible for themselves to get online and do those programs.
Yep.
Well, we didn't, I mean, Kelly was the coordinator.
Well, I still sent out the stuff, but
Yeah.
Kelly couldn't have done that anyway. She couldn't have handed them out. You had to do it online by yourself. So it was a big change from the last year's program to this year.
Yeah, changing the program was also a big part of, I mean,
Yeah.
Kelly did a great job, not saying you did or didn't, but it's a different situation, but the program was quite different too.
Mhm.
It was.
Yeah.
I mean, and honestly, it was a little, I mean, not that I'm not easily confused at sometimes, but sometimes it's kind of confusing of what the heck I'm kind of doing here, and we didn't have, in our case, we didn't have our wellness checks and stuff like we normally would have with things, and I did the annual physical part of it and things like that, but the things weren't quite as clear. It didn't seem like they were nearly as clear as what they were in the past. And maybe it's just because it was different, but it was.
Yeah, and it's gonna roll over and be very similar to what it was for 2020, so maybe that will.
Well, I think too, like once you finalize those 15 days or something, you had to screenshot it and then re-upload. And I think that was a lot of this confusion because people would do it, but they didn't realize the finishing to finalize it, so.
Yeah, like me, I've had 2 doctor's appointments and I didn't fill out the paperwork.
Yeah, if you, maybe you had your physical with one of those. Well, they'll be more incentivized with this accident program. They get the $75, it's tax-free.
Rather than wait until the end of the year. And
Yeah, and you can actually file it online if you want to. It's very easy to file a wellness claim through Reliance Standards website. It takes minutes to do. And we did a good review of that for employees on the educational webinars that we've done over the last couple of weeks.
yeah, hopefully I'll have a few people watch that webinar tomorrow so they can.
Yeah, I think, last week I think we had 300 or 400 employees attend from, all 25 counties, so decent participation.
So I went last year, but.
Very good. Well, I'll follow up with you guys on just some suggested rates to cost share off of. You guys have plenty of time.
Yep.
If you wanted to make a plan change and go to that option 1, the point of service, or make a dual option where you offered both of those, I would say maybe like by March 1st, try to have a decision made. Yep.
And then we would just have to notify you the list of who was on which one, or.
Yeah, we can help you with a, like an election form for open enrollment, and then
And it would
employees
affect
can.
their paid premiums or whatever.
Exactly. If they enroll in the point of service, they pay less in payroll contributions. Most counties that do that, 90% go to the lowest cost option, especially when the benefits are very comparable. Very good. Well, thank you guys. Feel free to follow up. My contact information is listed there in the presentation.
Thank you, Ryan. I apologize we ran.
No, that's fine. That's completely understand. Yeah, very good.
Thank
All right,
you.
yeah, happy holidays.
You too.
One question on, you said a Walmart site that, you'll be able to tell the chiropractors and stuff. 'Cause I was trying to look quickly, do we have to sign in or would it be on the general site?
You don't have to sign in. There should be a provider search on the Walmart website that will take you to a third party. I have an extra copy that I'll give you. Yeah, okay, you bet. If you go to the website and then there'll be a provider search on that main page. And it'll take you to a third party site and you can click the Alliance Select Network or the Blue Advantage and you can then search by chiropractors and zip codes.
Okay. Would this be under providers here?
No, find a provider, right down there, under the Do More, bottom left. Right there.
I'm missing the, do more.
Right here, find a provider.
Oh, find a provider, okay, do more. I was looking.
Yep. And that should take you to a third party. If you go down, go scroll back up. Right, and click that.
Click here, the
Yep,
arrow.
yep. There you go.
County currently pays the dental and vision, is that correct?
Half.
Half.
Yep. I know your staff is always so fast at getting back to us too, so we appreciate
Good,
that.
yeah, absolutely. Elizabeth is
Yeah.
phenomenal account manager. We were sad to lose Andrea. She just,
Yeah.
insurance was kind of a misfit for her, but once Maddie's more up to speed,
Yeah.
we'll start making some introductions, so. Yeah, just let us know how we can help.
Thank you.
Yep, take care. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We'll make a note here and then we'll jump on to the Shellsburg tax abatement. Okay. Are we ready to move on then?
Yep, I'm not up to speed as to what
Well,
last.
this has to do with the, taking action on the city of Shellsburg tax abatement. Lonnie was in last week.
Is he coming in today?
Yeah, no, indicated that he did not need to come in, but we did have some questions, regarding precedents that we might be setting, in doing this. I quite honestly cannot recall what the total dollar amount was off the top of my head, but, do you know what that was, Haley?
The what, dollar amount?
Or maybe Larry, that might be a better question.
I was not
I
even
mean,
shown
I know
up.
you-
I'm referring back to Tracy. Tracy thought it was like $400 is what he said.
What was it on?
Because treasurer would have the dollar amount and the penalties and, but.
So it was a house, who owned the house?
Well, the city of Shellsburg bought it in.
3 years ago.
July of 19. And that, and essentially that's, we have it the way it should be. In 19, as of July 1st, it was taxable when because they didn't buy until after. Had they bought it prior to July 1st, then that, year 19 assessment year would not have been taxable, period. It's either or, it's not a partial or anything like that, so. But precedent wise, and I know we're being heard here and stuff too, but I'll just say what I said to Tracy, that I think you guys have dealt with some since then, and in my opinion, I think you've dealt with them pretty properly, and I think Haley could probably look back at some as you as a board. Prior years to that, I don't think the board dealt with them very properly as far as the way it was intended to be. They were just like, oh, we'll just make it exempt or whatever. It's like, well, that's not really.
I always question too in closings if there was taxes paid on that current year.
Yes, yeah, and you asked those questions in the more recent times,
Mhm.
had they got a proration of taxes at the time, and if they did, then I think you use that to take that off of part of it and stuff too.
Yep, we did go look in the closings in some of those, but
Yeah, I'm just kind of giving kudos somewhat, not because I'm here talking to you guys, but that you guys have looked at it more than what, in the past, different times, some things were taken off that probably should not have been, just.
Okay. Who owned this house prior to Shellsburg owning it?
Well, it was
private.
privately owned.
it was, so it would have been taxable.
Right. So whenever the transfer was, the old owner should have paid the taxes.
Well, that's what we said,
And I'm
July
sure it was
19.
brought up to date, but I think what happened was the city of Shellsburg didn't know they should have come in and asked for that to be exempt. And so that's the gist of it that I got last week.
Yeah.
And so, we're not talking a large dollar amount here. I think Tracy said $400.
400 change, and the penalties and everything was like $19.
But I think the question comes up is, what are we setting for precedents? What have we done in the past? We need to make sure we do it correctly. because there is going to be perhaps that old hotel coming up in Belle Plaine. There may be an issue there if it's not done promptly to get it off the tax rolls.
Well, the old hotel, and I was, because at that time.
That's just an example.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
If you want to hear now, or if you want to hear some other time, the old hotel, I looked that up because, in my opinion, it should still be taxable because it's not for city purposes. But I recalled after we talked about that was at that time, whether it was your board or prior boards, they said, well, it should be exempt. I said, fine, if you want it exempt, I'll make it exempt, but it should not be. Because city-owned property is only exempt if it's to be used for city purposes, either in the future or currently. In other words, if you get a house back and you plan to tear the house down and resell the lot, it should never go out of taxation.
Correct.
And in this case here, it's going to city purposes for the Shellsburg one, so.
Yeah. And to answer the question, is that hotel, no, never mind.
Yeah, it's exempt right now, and
It is.
And it's arguably, should it be? In my opinion, no, but it was one of those things. It was one of those things the board wanted to have it exempt in the future, and for me to leave it in taxation and come back every year and exempt it with whatever. I don't know, because you guys had talked about it at that time or a prior board, but anyway, it was like, no, I'm just gonna take it off, so.
Yeah, I don't recall it, but, okay, all right. Well, we need to take action on this. Is there?
We would need to do it by resolution if you're gonna abate them.
Okay. And
just as one note too, that not knowing the percentage, but roughly a third of it will go back to the city of what they pay too, so they're gonna get back part of what. If they paid the 400, they would get part of that back anyway.
So they did already
I
pay?
don't know that have they paid it?
I understood they paid 400 of it.
My point is just if they pay it, they'll get part of the money back because they're part of
Or we abate the remainder? I mean, we got it both ways.
It didn't come down until, well, last week it was 30 days ago, so now almost 45 days ago that the house come down. It's been, and they bought it July 11th, they got possession July 11th of 18.
19.
19?
Yeah, we have a sale for 33,000, which I don't have the date in there, but the 19, we have a transfer July 12th of 19, and we also have another transfer of August 13th of 19, which would be probably.
I got 18.
Yeah, I think you're wrong.
Where did you have the parcel number?
Yeah, it's 1900, 4100.
Well, I don't have a problem abating, the portion with the counties where they, 2/3 of it, I guess, would be the number that you threw out there, because they'd get a third of it back otherwise.
Yeah, I guess my point of that wasn't exactly abating. Part of it was basically that if the city pays it, they're gonna get part of what they pay back anyway.
Right,
so,
right.
yeah.
Well, this wasn't necessarily the county's
Well,
problem.
the city should have.
And the city should have, their attorney should have told them.
The city should have taken care of it just before July 1st. It wouldn't have been a question if they got the transfers done.
It didn't, and so there's